What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. Joined today by Tyler Hicks as we are going to navigate through a short slate. Only 4 games on the card tonight, Tyler. So you know what? I've decided to set aside about 2 minutes to complain. Tyler, you know I'm pretty good about remaining even keeled, right? Losses don't get me down. Like we've been doing this for a while, right? And you know that I bounce back pretty quickly. That loss that I took on the Kings last night frustrated me. I mean, the new coach bump, right? I mean, that thing's like 99 and like 7 over the last 106 or something ridiculous, right? It's like the strongest trend in handicapping. And the Kings can't even get that done. They fall to a Philadelphia 76ers team that was missing their 3 highest paid players. I mean, that's just the depths of ineptitude. And I was joking with my buddies because we were all upset, of course, in the group chat. And I said, Luke Walton has to be laughing right now, like, oh, you guys thought this was my fault, huh? Just a bad roster. What were your thoughts on the NBA last night? Because I definitely did not have, I mean, I went 1-2. Okay, that's not that bad. But for whatever reason, that loss really bothered me. What did you think about the NBA last night?
Yeah, I mean, the Pacers beat up on the Bulls. I didn't see that one coming that much, but putting
Well,
Kobe
you
White in the
guys
starting
called it,
lineup,
though. You
I didn't
guys were
think they
right. I
beat
was
up.
sitting there
I didn't think they
watching.
would beat them that bad, though. They beat them
But
by
I was sitting there
32.
watching, and I said, Bobby and Tyler called this perfectly because they're getting killed inside.
Yeah, they
Did
just
you see
couldn't.
like Turner just like throwing balls into the stands?
Yeah, they just had
Yeah,
no answer down low. So
yeah.
they had to shoot the ridiculous percentage to win it, and they couldn't. The
Mm-hmm.
Grizzlies pulled off that miraculous win with Jaren Jackson hitting that 3 late, but seeing Jaylen Brown get back on the floor was a positive thing. I see he got to about 20 points, and they won that game by about 18.
Yeah, they looked pretty good last night in beating the Houston Rockets.
Tatum kept the flamethrower going, which he usually does once he starts doing this.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting because I was actually just working on that right before we jumped on. I was working on because tonight's slate it's good. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's tough to handicap. I was actually looking ahead to tomorrow on the Nets and the Celtics. Jumped out on me, so I was doing a little research for that one before we jumped on. And Tyler, you want to know how bad my night was? So when I opened the DraftKings app, Let It Snow just started playing. It goes, Let It Snow, because all I had was snowflakes next to the name, and then one fire for Buddy Hield. So not the best night for me in the association. But you know what the best thing about this business is, Tyler? Especially when you're doing a daily sport like the NBA, you just bounce back right away, right? I don't have to
Yeah,
wait till next Sunday to get it back, right? I'm not forcing action on a Thursday night football game. I got a good slate and some good numbers to talk about. So let's dive right in. The first game we have on the board is the Miami Heat. They're heading to Detroit to take on the Pistons. This line was as high as 10.5, down to 9.5. And you were talking about some news. I don't know if this is market-based move. I think it's more of a news move, right? As Bam Adebayo's popped up on this report, PJ Tucker questionable, Duncan Robinson questionable as well. We know on the Pistons side, Isaiah Stewart will be out with a suspension. So that's it's not the best, but obviously I think losing Bam means a lot more than losing Isaiah Stewart. What are your thoughts on this game? And then we'll get to a prop that Eric Chang just dropped in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing you could do in this game is play the under right now because I just think there's just going to be an ugly game. You
Right.
can't do anything with the Bam news because there's no real props on the Miami side. And I mean, outside of maybe betting the K to over assist with he's got in the chat,
Yeah, that's what Eric's
outside of
got in the
that,
chat.
this is just an ugly game I want nothing to do with.
Yeah, so I agree with you there on the under. I think that is a very good look. My idea is I don't think the Pistons will get to 100. So we know Miami plays slow. We know this is excellent defense, and I think if I'm right, I don't think either of these guys play. So this will be their last game before the holiday. But I will double check on that before we move on to the next game. So what about this one? If he ends up playing, Bam double and win, that's plus 106. That's not a bad look at all, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's not, but it's hard to gauge how he's going to play. If that's an illness, it's not an actual injury. He could be actually really sick, or it could just be he's got a little bit of a cough. So I would tread lightly with Bam props here.
Yeah, I think he already bet that though, so I think he's locked in there. And let me double check right now if these teams are off on tomorrow night because we had a big slate because everybody's off on Thursday. So let's see. The Pistons will travel to Milwaukee. Nope, so I was wrong. This is not their last game. They have one more game before they get to enjoy all the fun with their families. So the Pistons will be traveling to Milwaukee, and the Heat will head up to Minnesota. So, boy, that'll be fun for Jimmy Butler to spend Thanksgiving with all his old friends on the Timberwolves, right? So, all right, the Cade over assist. Was there any other props you were looking at?
Not in this one, just not with the news and just being an ugly game. Let's just say we just move on to the Lakers Knicks game.
All right, let's do it because this is a high-profile game. Number open at 3.5 overnight. It's got all the way to 7. A little bit of buyback on the Lakers, which makes sense. 7 was a lot for this matchup. Let's talk about why this number moved. We knew LeBron James would be out, right? The cheap shot artist, has to serve his 1-game suspension, which is absolutely ridiculous. I think you and I both agree that if any other player did that, they'd be out 5 games, right? So I almost think that Isaiah Stewart got lucky because if he had done that to someone else, the other person would have got a bigger suspension. Stewart would have got a bigger suspension as well. So the only good thing I guess you could say is that Stewart's was a little short because I thought he would get more for. I mean, how many times did he continue that altercation, not leaving the court? I mean, there was. He was rightfully upset, but I thought that he might get a little more. It looks like the league decided to go light on both sides, and that makes sense for their pocketbook. So LeBron's out, right? But then what's the news that really moved this line? Because we already knew that from the time we saw the incident on Sunday night that he would be suspended for this game. Anthony Davis questionable. So that's obviously a big deal.
To nobody.
But see, he's usually probable.
Yeah, his is another one. It's an illness, non-COVID.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to gauge if he's going to play or not. It's another one you got to wait and see closer to tip off before you could bet it. But I think it's another one you just go right to the under, even if AD does play. The Knicks play great defense. They like to play pretty slow too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mind that. But
and this number's 214 there, so you're getting a little bit more leeway there. If it's just Russ and his band of merry men, though, right? The band of like I don't know what's a movie where a bunch of old people come together and try and do something, right? That's what the Lakers are with Russ out there right now. Aren't you worried about the pace being too fast with him just going?
I mean, it could be, but unless they're shooting a high percentage, I mean, they don't have really good scores on that offense. They could run all they want. We've seen that Washington team sometimes last season. They weren't able to put up a ton of points, but in other games, they were able to put up $130.
Yeah. So, all right. So I like the Knicks of that opening number. At 4.5, I considered it. At 7, it was like, man, I almost want to go the other way. I don't really know what to do with this number now. So let's assume this 6.5 assumes to me that AD is going to sit. I think that if he's announced in, the line goes back to 4.5 or maybe even 4. Okay, so let's just assume 6.5 and AD is ruled out. Which side would you like there?
Probably the Knicks.
Even still at 6.5?
Yeah.
Okay. So that should be fun. The Knicks, of course, interesting season so far. They're 9-8. Have had some really good performances and some poor performances as well. What are your thoughts as a Knicks fan on the additions of Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier there? Added a little bit of offense, but they've definitely taken a hit on the defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, 2 small guards, you knew you were going to take the hit on the defense. And they're just – neither guy is going to win you a championship, so I really wasn't happy about either pickup. So I think they could have did better.
All right. Knicks fan not happy. All right. I will do this for you, Pocket QB, because you're always in the chat, being supportive, bringing the good mojo, as the DFS guys like to say, right? He says, please mention how horrible the Lakers are in the third quarter, the worst team in basketball. Yeah, it's interesting. Small sample size, of course, because we're only, about 15 games in. But they say after 8 games, these trends do become predictive and indicative of future performance. So, like you said, definitely worth mentioning. And Josh, I will address that comment here. Let's talk about Eric's comment, though. Knicks defense this season sucks, dude. Pretty sure they're bottom of the league defensive rating. They have gotten worse, and the pace has gotten higher. What are you seeing with the Knicks defense? Is it just simply that Kemba and Fournier aren't good defenders, or is it something else?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to catch many of the games live, so to be honest with you, not really sure. But I'd have to rewatch some of the games to get all that info for you.
Yeah, I mean, people were really down on Alfred Payton because he was
I,
basically a net
I'm not
net
like Joey
negative on
Work. I don't
offense.
watch every Knicks game.
I mean, Joey Works out there going bing bong after every victory, partying at the Garden. So we'll get with Joy there. Yeah, I mean they've kind of switched, right? They're 7th on offense and 21st on defense. If you're just going off raw points, Eric, and I'm using those numbers off the top of my head, and I checked them a couple days ago, so could be a little inexact. But if I remember, they flip flopped. Now they're one of the better offensive teams, and their defense is struggling. So I don't think Thibodeau likes that. What do you think about this one here? Our guy Brandon McNair, he's probably pretty disappointed with that Danny Dimes performance last night, but he's back and ready to get some of this money back. He said, take all the THT overs. Do you agree? I mean, Tyler, even if Davis plays, THT's been the most efficient scorer on this team. Do you agree with Brandon here, or do you think he has some problems tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that. He's gonna chuck it when he's in there. So he's just, and if AD's out, he's gonna get a ton of chances.
Right.
The other one I don't hate is Carmelo over 15.5 because he's gonna be another guy that's just out there chucking the three. Yeah. And his 3-pointers props 2.5 plus 110. I don't hate that one either.
Yeah. So Brandon says bing bong. And let's go. Pocket QB gives us another really good one. Nick's really bad guarding the three, but the Lakers have a small amount of 3-point shooters. Monk and Ellington could be viable. Yeah, Ariza's still out. Of course, Carmelo's become a good 3-point shooter later in his career. And then, it's weird, talk about the Knicks defense and how it's changed. Last year, they did have some sort of luck as they had the lowest shooting percentage against them on wide open threes, right? So that's you can't credit the defense when they just miss wide open.
Yeah, that was due
maybe
for some regression.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of regression there as well. But I trust Thibodeau to get this team back on track. And if Fournier and Walker don't get it done, he will move away from these guys. Eric brings up a good point. Russ has been shooting better lately. The only thing I'd say is it's pretty hard to shoot worse, but you are correct. Anything else more on this game before we move on?
No, that's it. I got nothing else on this one. Till we get news, and then we'll drop something in the Discord.
Yeah, and that's a great time to become a member of runpurebets.com. Use the promo code, use bets25 off to become a member. If you go ahead and at me, I'm not always super active in there, but I'm always will answer a question if you go ahead and at me. And if I don't, that means I didn't get the notification. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm always talking and conversing with members, having such a great time in the Discord as we navigate the treacherous waters that are gambling on the NBA. And I'll tell you what, this is not for the faint of heart, right? If you can't take losing and you can't take bad beats, this might be a rough sport for you. But if you're like Tyler and I, and you just love the game of basketball, we just can't get enough, as stressful as it can become. The third game on the card is the Denver Nuggets. This line's moved to 6.5, heading to Portland to take on the Trailblazers. Tyler, I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but wait for the news. I mean, I wrote an article and I gave out the Nuggets this morning, but I'll tell you what, it was tough to do because I'm assuming Jokic plays, because don't you think that bet's kind of dead in the water if he sits? And I see that he is questionable. Zeke Naji is questionable as well. Bones Highland is out for sure. No one on the Portland side on the injury report. A rare thing to see a team fully healthy in the NBA. What are your thoughts on this game? And I guess let's just handicap it, assuming that Jokic is playing. Because even if he's playing, I think that 6 number seems right. Michael Porter Jr. Back. I don't know what the exact term is, but he could be out for the season. So that's going to be an issue.
We all knew his back was going to be a problem from the start when he was drafted.
Yeah, that's the reason he fell to 12. I'd still rather have him than Marvin Bagley, though.
Yeah, we'll see how Elvin Gentry evolves Marvin Bagley, but looking at this game, I think Portland wins it regardless if Jokic plays because he's not going to be 100%.
But does he cover the 6.5?
I think they can. I mean, Dame's been playing better. He's had some good scoring outputs.
Yeah, 39 in his last output.
Yeah, so he's finally getting a shot under him. I see they give up a ton of assists to point guards on this Denver side. So they could play some tough defense on him. His number 7.5, about even money. I don't hate that.
Okay.
And his points props 24.5. That seems low for Damian Lillard.
Yeah, especially the way he's been playing lately, averaging 29 points over his last 6 games, and his shooting percentage is finally up to about 40%. Boy, he was in the low 30s earlier, and I'm not talking about 3-point percentage. I'm talking shooting percentage. The guy shot 45 and 44% from the field for the last 2 years. So to be at 39%, you can tell that definitely was a slump. But we know as Dame goes, this team goes. with him getting back in form, they are a dangerous team, and I like to see it. I'm a big Lillard fan. He's a Northern California guy. Grew up in Oakland. As you can tell, if you've ever heard his rap albums, I still like the Nuggets to keep it closer. These teams are weird, right? They kind of got a rivalry. They faced each other a lot in the playoffs the last couple of years, and they've always been close matchups. So I like Denver to keep it close. But if you go the other side in the Trailblazers, I definitely can't argue. I think it's tough to handicap this team, right? The Nuggets without Jokic, because he played 81 games last year, right? He's only missed 1 or 2 this season so far.
Yeah, so you really have no film on them playing without him.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were able to get that one win against Indiana that night. I remember I like that, but if I remember right, Porter was still in the lineup then?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so it's definitely a tough game to handicap. But hey, guys, we're here. We're trying hard for you. It's only 12:45 on the West Coast right now. So of course we will be waiting for the news. And I think you're right. You know, I did bet it when I wrote the article this morning, and just hoping that Jokic is there. but if you're not writing articles and you can afford to wait, I see no reason to wait for that news. I like the Nuggets if he plays. I'd be interested to see how this line moves if he sits. 214.5 is the total. Tyler, do you have any ideas on that?
Yeah, I mean, part of me wants to lean over, but with the way this NBA is being played these days, I think it's just you just gotta either bet an under or stay away from a total. So
yeah, before like
the
last year when these teams were playing, they were like between 229 and 234.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like you want to bet the over, but after seeing what we've seen this year, I just can't click an over yet.
I agree with you. And Richie Smalls is in the chat, and Richie and I always talk. We both hang out in the Run Pure chat as well for the DFS side on the NBA. So I'm always happy to hear from Richie. And Richie, you know, I should send you a little money as a producer, because they always tell me to do this, and I always forget. Guys, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, share with your friends. A retweet on social media goes a long way. I'll see it. Tyler will see it, and we will be not forever indebted, but we'll be happy that you did that for us. So thank you very much, Richie, for reminding me, and I appreciate you doing that daily, because you remind me daily, and I seem to forget daily. Thanks a lot to Richie Smalls for reminding everyone to hit the like button. So now I think that Luka's going to play in this game that we are going to talk about, Tyler. The Dallas Mavericks are now only plus 3.5 off against the Los Angeles Clippers, minus 3.5. So this line opened 5.5, moved to 6, right, with the expectation that he wasn't going to play. And they were talking about it in the chat. Let me scroll back up so I can share it on the screen.
I think he said he left practice after banging his knee. Yep.
Yeah, so he could sit tonight, but he participated in shoot around, and his participation moved the line. We're not certain, right? I mean, talk about a wait and see day. So I don't know. The line right now tells me he's going to play. Let's just go ahead and give out a quick handicap as if he's in. And then, you know, I mean, I guess if you want to touch on it, if he's out, it moves back to 6, and then you could take it there. I like the Mavericks plus the points when it was 6, and I thought that Luka might sit. I feel like these guys are pretty excited. You know, Luka's so ball dominant, right? Porzingis is getting better. He's back to being the number 1 option. Jalen Brunson, of course, chipping in well. You know who I thought would really excel during this time? That hasn't really stood out as much as I thought was your old Nick, Tim Hardaway Jr. He's the one I would say that's not taking advantage of this absence as much as the other 2 Mavericks. Brunson and Porzingis are like, cool, Hardaway, we'll take this extra usage.
This came at like the worst time for him because he wasn't shooting with a hot hand. If he was shooting with a hot hand, people would be calling him an all-star right now because he'd be averaging like 25 with Luke out.
Yeah, and I remember last year, right? We were joking that you know, Porzingis was the throw-in the Hardaway trade because Hardaway was playing so well and Porzingis was playing so bad. I mean, these guys just can't get on the same page at the same time. So maybe that trade was the one thing that the Knicks have done right in the last 5 years. Regardless, okay, wait, hold on. More news. See, thank you, Chad. I appreciate it. Eric Chen says Clippers also didn't have shoot-around because of COVID protocols. They had to evacuate the facility. Like I said, I was already working on tomorrow. I missed this news. I think this is great addition. Thank you, Eric. I wonder.
I hear bet the under full game, bet the under first quarter. That's what I'm hearing.
Why do you say that?
That you don't get to shoot around. You pick up the basketball and just go outside. You're not going to be able to just shoot right off the bat. You got to warm up. You don't get to warm up.
Interesting. So what do you think, though? Maybe just the first quarter under is the better look?
I think the first quarter under is the better look, but I think full game is also a good look, too.
Let me see if I have it here. NBA quarters. I'm on Bookmaker right now, guys. The first quarter for this game,
52.5.
I got a 53.5 on my book.
Yeah, I'd go under there.
Let's do it. Let's jump in. First quarter under. I'm placing it right now. All right. So, Tyler, we got that first quarter under. I just made another bet. What props did you have for this game?
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, Paul George has rebounded the ball pretty well this year. He's averaging about 8. His prop's 7.5, and it's plus money. I could see him grabbing double-digit rebounds here and getting a double-double. And his assist prop's 5.5. And you look at his assist numbers his last 5 games: 6, 6, 6, 4, 4, and 4. So he's hanging right around that number.
Mm-hmm.
So I could definitely play that too, a plus 120. But I think the rebounds is the way to go with him.
All right. So we like the first quarter under in that game, and Tyler also likes Paul George to go over his rebound total. So, hey guys, quick show today. Of course, without bringing on the expert coordinators from Run Pure Sports, we kind of shied away from the DFS today. So, if you guys were looking for that information, I talked to Travis. He just had a busy day, and with his news that he's navigating, he said, "Hey, man. Can you guys rock it without me? Because I want an extra hour because I really want to make sure I'm giving out the winners on the Hardwood Live show that they do on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel." So I said, "Hey man, you got to do that. I want to get the winners," because he gave his buddy Healed yesterday, and that was my lone fire in a sea of snow. I mean, Jon Snow would have been proud of the lineup I fielded yesterday, right? I mean, it was like what was that? The North returns, winter is coming. That's what the lineup is. All right. We got a nice comment here.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I was actually wearing a wife beater, and I wish I really had some whiskey stains. But all right, we haven't got trolled for a while, Tyler. No, we would not do that. Come on, Dakota. But keep trying. We'll get there. We'll get there. So we got some trolls coming out, Tyler. I think that means we're doing something right here. But we know Gregory Russo does not have a chance to watch live, but he told me. He sent me a message. He said, "Spread, I'm watching on the replay, man." So, we still got the segment named after him. It is the best bets. Tyler, what is your best bet of the day?
Yeah, it's going to be Paul George over 7.5 rebounds. I'm just going to stick with that prop.
All right. And I'm going to go ahead and just take one out of your playbook because we have so much weight for the news. But I think the great idea here is that first quarter under. I got 53.5 on Bookmaker. I think, shop around. I think you will be able to get it. So Tyler likes Paul George over rebounds. And I'm going in the same game. What's that, Tyler, they like to do on FanDuel? Same game parlay. I like going under in the first quarter. Now, I don't know if they actually let you do that because I don't have FanDuel. I live in is this guy? Is this Brandon Cola's? Is this Brandon Cola's burner right here? But I don't know. I don't have the same game parlays out here in California. I'm only using the offshores still. But hey, so much fun, and we're gonna go ahead and run. Brandon saying the under on Dakota's workbench activity. So if he knows what you're talking about, we'll know that he's a regular viewer. If not, maybe he just joined the channel. But hey, Dakota, glad to have you. Go ahead, like the channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, share it with all your buddies. You can let them know. You can say, hey, these guys were great guys to troll. They took it in stride. Tyler is going to go ahead and get ready because he's going to be leading the way. We will be back in 1 hour on this channel. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You'll get notified when we go live to go ahead and break down the NFL week. I love doing the NBA, and I've been doing a lot of NBA. But Tyler's really been taking the lead on the NFL, and I've been thankful because his plays have been a lot better than my leans. I'll tell you that much. So much fun learning from Tyler. And of course, I love watching the NFL as well. But thank you for watching the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Bets. Remember, if you're not already a member, head on over to runpurebets.com. Use the promo code BETS25 off to get all the best in sports gambling information that the internet has to offer. Tyler, do you have anything else to say before we take a short break to get ready to come back with the NFL? All right. There's the man. Very few words, but a lot of winners, and that's the way we like it. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out and Run